And if you would like to watch the recording later, let us know and we can share it. So, why are we here? Well, most people here are involved in projects or initiatives that relate to the policy area SHIP. And you are all involved, and what we want you to leave with is an overview of the policy area and of all the projects and initiatives within it. So let's start and have a look at the agenda. And it hasn't changed from the one sent out. So there's a short break around 2:10. So please hold me responsible if we don't keep the time, because I'm your timekeeper today as well. Let's move on to some background. The stakeholders under the EUSBSR, which is the lovely abbreviation, only six letters, and the policy area for clean shipping, which is PA SHIP, and just next to it, below it, you find the policy area for maritime safety and security, policy area SAFE. We apply for money and financing together. We have common weekly meetings, and we do a lot of things together. And several of you projects are part of both policy area SHIP and policy area SAFE. SHIP is basically on board the ship, and SAFE is the supporting things around on land, to say just a short word on that. And each policy area has their own objectives and actions, and these are the current SHIP ones. And we're going to discuss later in the agenda that the action plan of the EUSBSR is changing, a revision, and we're going to review these objectives and actions with experts, and some of these experts are you guys. You can expect us to look into these specific items later today. Here's a lovely slide that Milla have put in for several hours. This is really a good summary of what the policy area coordinators do. So it's outlined in this slide. Essentially, our job is to be the connectors between the stakeholders, between the projects. You are like the grassroots work, and then the policy level, but also including the industry, academia, and all other sorts of actors. So this is why we're here today, and we want to showcase the projects underway and also the newcomers. And the projects will, in most cases, present themselves. In some way, they have delegated this to me, which I feel very flattered and honored. We've finished this off with a bit of reminder why you're here today, and exchanging views, information. One big thing is to facilitate setting up new projects. That is, you find new ideas in this meeting, you find relevant partners for new projects. So this is extremely useful. And you can also send your input to the current and upcoming projects and improve them. And finally, to provide information about available funding opportunities. And so in a nutshell, we go with listen, ask, inform, and share. And as you can see, AIS, which is really important, information in shipping is there. Listen, AIS. That was my own joke. It's not in the script. Oh, I wonder if I get punished. All right. Moving on to the third important aspect of today, share some information on the current funding landscape. Are you ready for this? Let's go. So, there's something completely new today, which is called the EU Ship Financing Portal. It's been recently opened. It didn't exist before that. It's maintained by the European Commission, and you can be sure that it will be up to date because they have guys working for it. And please read through this on your own time. I don't like reading information directly from the slides. So please read and ask questions if you have any. All right, I'll move to the next slide, which is about the portal in a nutshell. So, yet again, I want you to read it. And as you can see, you have the link to the portal here, and the presentation, I guess, with all presentations will be shared afterwards. And at that time, I urge you to save the link to the portal as a favorite. In addition to this shipping portal, we have a support function within the EUSBSR, it's called the Baltic Sea Action Point, and they have a database of current funding calls and updates a list of the relevant ones for each policy area, that is for clean shipping. Unfortunately, they could not join this meeting, but if you have questions about other current calls, please send questions to Mila, and she will find the answer with the Baltic Sea Action Point. Funding opportunities currently ongoing, and this is quite a stretch if you have not heard about it. It's a call from Interreg Baltic Sea region. It's a call for project platforms, and the deadline is December, and the platform ID form, the PIF, so-called PIF, is due in 2 weeks' time. So what is a platform, I hear you ask? Well, it's to bring something that is a project and transfer it from project to platform. In a thematic platform, several projects together will be able to have a meaningful output comprised by the individual project's results and outcomes. Together, these solutions can be written into policy recommendations, which would be promoting the clean shipping solutions at higher levels in the EU. Because sometimes when your project is done, your end result could be policy recommendations, but you don't have the time to really push for that within the right organizations, because shipping is quite global, so you might need to push it at the European Union level. Then the European level might do some policy work, but it could go on further to International Maritime Organization, International Hydrographic Organization, or the International Association of Lighthouse Administrations, IALA. So the platforms are very good to continue to push and make sure that the results out of the projects will come into policies and the results will have an impact. So here are some more details about the requirements. There needs to be at least 3 projects coming together, and 2 of these should be from the Baltic Sea region, at least, and you could have partners from outside the program area. That is more of an exception, but they really welcome projects that have other funding programs that have been active in the region. For example, Horizon project or Connect Europe facility projects. The own contribution is 20%, and the maximum budget is 1.2 million euros. Any questions?
Hi, Ulf. Hi, everyone. Can I add something, if possible?
Please do.
Hi, everyone. So first to say a couple of words about myself. My name is Marco. I'm from Submariner Network from Berlin, Germany. You probably met my boss, Angela, at a previous meeting. And we are relatively newbie here. And I just want to say that at the end, maybe of this call, I would like to speak a little bit more about it, but we are currently working on this platform proposal, and we would like to invite you also to reach out to me if you would like to be a part of it. I already included in a draft a couple of projects that have already been mentioned and are part of it, and I will also reach out to you later, but yeah, I will speak more about it later. But we are on it, and we will be in time to prepare the PIF, and we'll have one meeting later this week. So anyone interested can reach out to me later. But I will also speak a little bit more at the end of the meeting. Gotcha. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Marco. Yes, I forgot to mention that we have 2 interventions that want to add to any other business at the end of the meeting, where Marco is one, and Andrea from Red Noise Ship will share some information about that project. So thank you very much, Marco, for that intervention. So if you need more information on this call, these are the links. And as always, Milla is very present to help you if you need assistance. So, moving on. The next subject is, where will EUSBSRPA ship be and do next year or even after next year? So the strategy, which started in 2009, I think I remember. No, I don't. But it has been updated 4 times in 2013, 15, 17, and the latest time 2021. And now it will be updated again over the next year. That is, by the end of 2025, there will be a new updated version of the action plan. And the main focus of the strategy this time is really the action plan and the actions of each policy area and the indicators of these actions for the upcoming years. And this will be led by the policy area coordinators with support of the steering group members. And that includes all the 8 countries, EU countries bordering the sea. Policy area SHIP have already been circulated among stakeholders over the past month. And the comments will come in and come together with the comments from the steering group next week. But before that, it is your turn. So you're going to work in this meeting. We want some input. So what we would like you to do during this meeting is review the main objective and the 3 action items to see, are they relevant? Are they topical? And are they appropriate? What would you like to add? What would you like to take away? Would you suggest something completely new? So what I would like you to do is to write down your comments as they come to you when we are walking through the objective and the action items. I don't think that we will have time to discuss that at each time, so please write them down and send them in to Milla. And I expect at least one suggestion from each and every one of you. And since, I'm sorry, the PA SHIP new policy area coordinator, Sami, is taking notes from this meeting, and he's also know who are present at the meeting. So we will know if you had sent in something or not. And there might be a reminder. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And maybe I can quickly introduce myself. Hi, I'm Sami Westerinen, and I studied marine biology. And a month ago, I graduated last year, and a month ago I started as a policy area coordinator with Milla. So I'm quite new to this, so I'm excited to learn about everybody's projects. And you can also put me as a copy on the email that you sent the suggestions to Milla. Thank you.
All right, and you will know for sure because it will probably be Sami who sends out the material and the notes from after the meeting. So you will have his email there as well. Or you can put your email in the chat as well, Sami. That's a suggestion. All right, so let's pick your brains and have you write down things. So here's the first thing. The main objective of the policy area SHIP is to become a model region for clean shipping. So if we go back and look, is this relevant? Is it topical, and is it appropriate? We should be a model region for clean shipping. This I think builds on things like the Baltic Sea region being the first ever low sulfur area. So clean shipping is really high on the agenda. But could we adjust this objective? Is there something missing? Please think about that. It's gonna get awkward because I'm gonna give you time to write and think. Okay, just I don't know how if you raise your hand, but just as an indication, did anyone have something, a comment already down? Just unmute and say yes if you did.
Hi, this is Stefan from Port of Hamburg.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
if I may, it's more a comment. To be honest, I must dig a little bit more deeper into the actual strategy. So if my comment is already kind of dealt with, please excuse my unknowledge. But the comment. So I think from personal experience, also from our projects we are running, the link between ship and land becomes more and more important, especially if we're thinking about sustainable fuel deployment on ships, which requires respective infrastructure on land. If we talk about onshore power supply solutions, where a lot of land infrastructure is being ready soon or even ready by now. Anyhow, ships might not be able to use it currently. And there we also see a big issue if it comes to ferries, like we have the obligation in ports to use OPS for specific transport kinds, and sometimes ferry transportations are part of that. Anyhow, due to shorter port stays or complicated situation on board, as ferries by themselves are a little bit more heavy and require these big hatch for cars and so on, it's not so easy to equip them as well with OPS solutions, which might be considered in future a little more and find specific solutions for that. And then what comes more and more into discussion from our viewpoint is also carbon capture. Carbon capture on board on some older ships that might not be able to be retrofitted in a way that carbon capture is needed, kind of. And if carbon is captured, how to deal with that with imports. So again, the bridge between ship and land. So there's a couple of comments I would see maybe in this area of model region for clean shipping. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I believe that you might sort them into the different actions of when we come and walk through the three actions of policy area ship. I think one of them is the carbon capture is relevant for one, whereas the onshore power will be relevant for another. But this is exactly what we would like. We would like for you to bring comments, and they could be of any nature. Everything is welcome because it gives us something to provide and give input to the steering group and for other people to have more aspects in the discussion. So thank you very much. Let's move into the first action.
Chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
I was thinking about this word clean.
Yes.
That's the kind of opposite of dirty. That refers to something physical or visible. So I'm kind of wondering that is this the right word for it? Because, for example, you have an environmental problem with underwater noise, and that can't be regarded as clean or dirty. It's still a problem.
I see.
I'm kind of wondering what would be the better word than clean? Would it be sustainable or something like this?
That's interesting and also a good comment. Would it be sustainable? Would it be green? Would it be, which word can we use to encompass all the aspects of shipping, what we really want to achieve when it comes to PA ship? So thank you very much for that comment as well. And please write them down and as well and send them to Milla and Sami afterwards as well. Any other comments?
Maybe I can as well jump in here.
Andrea Cervantes from Coalition Clean Baltic. This is more of maybe you can orient me or help me to understand, because we are talking about shipping, but there's also other issues, for example, that we are dealing with in regards to recreational crafts, recreational boating. So is this something that could be as well introduced or is already somehow in this policy area?
Thank you for your question. As you saw on that big circle of policy areas, all the policy areas have links between them, and policy area ship is really focusing on shipping. That is the commercial side of shipping, but boating is more part of policy area tourism. So and the environmental aspects of that is also important. So please send your comments on that, and we will see how it fits in policy area ship, and what we can share with, for example, policy area tourism, or perhaps policy area transport, who also works with things. It's not always easy to draw the line. An example is from policy area safe, where we support shipping as well. That is our main target group. And we, for example, do hydrographic and bathymetric service of the whole Baltic Sea, and we focus on the fairways. But we added also the areas where shipping is not present, that is just for leisure crafts and boating. So even though we are not focusing on that, there's actually an action that supports boating within PA Safe. So that is why it's good that you brought this up, because it might come in, or it might be part of another policy area. So thank you very much, and please write it down and send the comment to Mila and Sami.
Thank you.
Further comments. I really appreciate this, because this is very much what this meeting is about. It's the interaction, it's the input from you, it's your reflections, and they will help the policy area to become better.
Yeah. Hello, if I may say something.
Please go ahead. Who are you? Because I don't see the
Transport Infrastructure Agency.
Yes.
Sorry, I joined just a while ago. I was in another meeting, but generally the thing which is never to forget in this region is really the winter navigation and the challenges that ice brings into the region for merchant shipping and sustainable maritime transport, and how that is implemented, and how, for instance, when we see that being the ice-breaking authority in charge of winter navigation in Finland, what we see is that the environmental regulation and also the non-fossil fuels are causing the merchant vessels to become less and less capable of operating in ice conditions. And that's in very first-hand safety issue. Of course, it's also efficiency issue for the shipping, and how adequate safety and efficiency regarding ice-breaking resources are granted, but also then affecting the sustainability of maritime transport in a way that instead of building ice-capable merchant vessels, which only operate even for the northern part of Baltic, like 5% of their overall sailing time in ice, but still need the capability to operate there and operate when assisted. And on the other hand, when this icebreaking capacity assures that vessels are safe and adequate icebreaking, helps also the merchant shipping to reduce the emissions, because then what the merchant vessels need to be and how they must use their machinery, typically increasing the ice operation, increasing their consumption 40 to 60% when they operate in ice. So how that, in a holistic perspective, is taken in account for the shipping in region. So if it was already mentioned somewhere there, sorry for repeating, but generally this is for Finland and Sweden above Stockholm. On the hard winters, which we still, in spite of the climate change, will see also in the future, affecting also regions, Bay of Riga, Gulf of Finland. That's something that has to be kept in the programs for the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And this is a question that really comes close to my heart, being the policy area coordinator of policy area SAFE, because policy area SAFE has winter navigation as one of our actions. So we are well aware of the fact, but it's interesting because this environmental or emissions aspect of the balance between the future ships having a less ice class in order to emit less emissions over the year, but forcing the icebreakers to assist more and thus emit more. This balance would be interesting to study as part of that, and the focus in policy area SAFE when it comes to winter navigation is safety and efficiency, and the emissions sort of come out as an side effect of the efficiency. But it's very well noted that it's if we call it a side effect that's relevant for the policy area on clean shipping. So it's very relevant and something that you are most welcome to write down and send in, and it will be used for policy area SAFE especially. So Thank you very much. And as you mentioned, it's relevant for Sweden, Finland, Estonia, and to some extent also Latvia.
Yeah, and to understand in one hand, the ice classes are, although they contain some sort of a performance requirement, but generally the ice classes firsthand are for safety. They provide the strength for the vessel to tolerate the different ice conditions according to the ice classes, so that even if they got stuck, they won't be damaged. But it doesn't grant them to be able to operate. It's only for the 1A Super, which starts to be rare, and even ro-ro vessels mainly belonging to that category because of their high engine power for high speed requirement in open water. Even those are getting less and less capable for independent operation in ice. And the independent operation in ice means that in thin ice you could operate by yourself, but the rest of the ice classes are even by definition meant to be capable to sail in ice when assisted by icebreaker. And this is something which is often misunderstood, but also because the designs of the merchant model vessels are really optimized for minimizing the consumption in open water, and that's unfortunately, or by the laws of physics, always totally contrary to capability of operating in ice. So this is something where this type of modeling, which we've been trying to developing for the real actual ice operations and not just general ice class vessels sailing in open water, then this is something that should be kept in the picture all the time in the EU context. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. And there are EU projects working on this, not exactly on the winter ice classes, but there is an ongoing program for that focuses a local program between Finland and Sweden. The focus is very much on ice classes.
Good point on that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Any more? I really like your input. Please, if there's anyone else, otherwise we'll actually step through the 3 actions of policy area ship and would welcome more reflections on each one of them. Okay, then we go with the first one. So the first current action, and this action can be adjusted for the next action plan, which we look at. So we have the action and we have the indicator. And the thing I want you to reflect upon, are they relevant, topical, appropriate? What changes would you suggest? So the first action is support measures, including digitalization, in reducing emissions from shipping. And the indicator would be development of research and policy measures aiming at reducing emission of ships. And the value would be number of initiatives. Interestingly enough, it says emissions, but it doesn't say what kind of emissions. So my reflection is that the underwater noise might be included in this definition, but that was just a personal reflection. Now I'll give you a minute and I shut up.
Yeah, Chair, if I may.
Please.
Okay, I forgot to introduce myself the last time. Jukka Päkki-Jalkanen from Finnish Meteorological Institute. So I certainly feel that this topic is very fitting because as it was already mentioned, that there is this increased need of communication, for example, between the land side and the ship side. So in order to do that, to do this kind of a data exchange, so it usually happens in digital form. So passing on, for example, monitoring data or data about environmental conditions and things like these. So they're already coming on board of ships. So there's an increased use of data, for example, near the upcoming S100 ECDIS update. So basically that brings some of these to ships already. So at least I'm not seeing that this digital pathway would be going away. It's quite the opposite.
Thank you.
I would also maybe like to add one thing, if possible.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah. I also think this is very relevant, and I think that digitalization tools can also help us count when planning how much carbon footprint will we have. For example, if we're going, I don't know, from one Baltic port to another, and then to count in this calculation of the expenses, whether it's better to go with the big trucks to move load or with ships, because if we're going with ships, of course, it's going to be much more carbon effective and less carbon emissions. And then that can also probably in the future should indicate to companies when moving goods from, I don't know, South Baltic to Central or North Baltic to maybe aim for going with the ship route, and then maybe small ports can also benefit more for this.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting aspect to see because if you're gonna sail across the Baltic Sea, then would it make sense to sail a longer distance and reduce the land side? it's one thing if you can drive, or if the train could go all the way, which will be interesting with a Fehmarn Belt connection between Germany and Denmark. But as soon as you're on a ship, then it's interesting to see what's the optimal distance, and could there be changes in the network. Yeah.
Yes, maybe another comment to that. Stefan again from Port of Hamburg Marketing.
Yep.
I think the action is very relevant, so I agree to the other speakers that it should stay for sure. While with the indicator, there might be maybe a way to extend it slightly. So right now we are very much focusing, or the strategy is focusing on the research and policy level, which pushes further the sector itself. But it could be also the sector who is pushing forward. And right now we see the tendency in setting up green shipping lines between Baltic ports. So the initiative is very much pushed also from the UN originally, and now also from the European Union. And just for discussion, I mean, maybe it's also an indicator to see how these green shipping lines develop, and initiatives supporting these green shipping lines. And these initiatives can be more than just research and policy measures or initiatives, but also the sector itself, which implements greener ships on specific corridors, support authorities which support in greening. So this is a thing which comes into my mind reading that, and maybe also reflect then a little bit more on the business side, that also there is happening a lot currently.
Thank you very much. I really like the thinking that to make the indicators more geared towards implementation than just research, even though policy measures I think are really important, but to have things that are more connected to implementation. So I think your suggestion is really interesting, and it's relevant both for this action and also for action 3, which we come to in a while. But it's I was so much thinking of green corridors connected to action 3 that I forgot to see how well it actually matches action 1 as well. So it's really interesting if we can find indicators that help different actions forward, because then it's really areas that we could focus more work on, because they seem to have effects in several important areas. That was a lot of words, wasn't it? But I hope you understand what I meant.
Hello, here's Susanne from Germany, from BSH, and I just wanted to add to this discussion that what I thought would also maybe fit in here is this whole just-in-time concept, because obviously there are digital solutions play a big role there too, and and it seems to be, you know, like a solution to many of our problems if that works out sometime in the future. So maybe this could also be, you know, some sort of indicator to see what ports have implemented this concept and how can it put into practice, basically. Yeah.
Thank you. And I've been working with this just in time for more than at least 8 years, and since my projects have been usually in the policy area safe, I kind of forgot that this is actually the probably the main result, the main benefit of just in time is the reduced emissions. So I agree that an indicator on, for example, the number of ports in the Baltic Sea using it, or it could be a percentage of the ports per country or something. I think that would be a very good indicator showing where progress is coming. And I know that when people are implementing just in time, it's not always relevant for the whole port, but it's more important for some of the segments. But that's fine. I think a number of ports would be a really good indicator. So thank you very much, Susanne, for bringing that up. Because it's really using digitalization also in this. More comments.
One more. Annukka Lehikoinen from Kotka Maritime Research Center.
Yes, please.
Here. Yeah, this is actually related to this, also this just-in-time concept, and creates a link to PA Safe too. Like when the digital solutions are coming sort of new normal and people get more and more used to operate with them, I think one important issue is also related to the resilience of the system, so that we kind of are aware of the risk that what if we are in a situation when the digital tools collapse and are not available, is the system still able to operate, or is there, for example, risk for accidents or security of supply and so on. So this one creates a link to PA Safe.
Yes, it's absolutely a good link to PA Safe, where with the new security situation in the Baltic Sea and the disturbances in AIS that are ongoing from day to day have really made resilience and backup solutions important, and that is part of PA Safe. But it's a very good comment, so please write it down and send it in, and we'll see. There's also the aspect, okay, what will happen to emissions if we go back to the fallback, the resilient, the backup solution? How will that affect the emissions? So that's one aspect of it that I don't think that we've taken into account, that might be of interest as well.
If I may also add here, and coming back as well to the underwear noise topic that you mentioned already, I think it is definitely very relevant to consider it for inclusion here. And as already mentioned as well, not only the development of policy measures, but the implementation side. And so one more thing that I would think is not only digitalization, but maybe offering common platforms or some kind of like facilitating dialogue among stakeholders to address this challenge, because it's kind of like more of a new problem, or perhaps more new than others. So it definitely needs a bit more dialogue among stakeholders. Thanks.
Thank you. I agree. It's an issue that haven't been brought up until the recent years, and thus we run into difficulties sometimes in getting financing for it, because the financial instrument doesn't include it in their calls, etc. So it's absolutely an area where we need to build more awareness in both industry and among institutions. So that's a good idea. It's more of, to me, more of a sub-action of the policy area rather than an indicator. But I would like you to try to think out. It could be maybe that an indicator that could be suggested that it's only related to the underwater noise. So just reading development of research and policy measures aiming at reducing underwater noise And it could stop there because there could be other sources of underwater noise that could be relevant. I'm not sure if that should be included in PA ship, but we can see that there's underwater noise when there are construction work in the ocean. If there's underwater mining and all these kind of activities. So that's a wider topic. I don't know exactly where it falls, but it's interesting to get some wording in there and share it among this and other policy areas.
Yeah, if I can reply a bit, I agree, and we can think about an indicator. I think it's really relevant for these policy areas since shipping is the most prominent source of continuous underwater noise in the Baltic Sea. So I think it falls very well into this policy area, and maybe it can also be reflected into the threshold, like the EU threshold values on continuous underwater noise. Of course, it's a much broader topic. Underwater noise in general, both for continuous and impulsive, but definitely I think it's very worth to consider in this action. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Just a comment, Seppo Mäkinen from PA Safe as well. The HELCOM has done quite a lot studies on underwater noise. There are also portals providing some information on that.
Thank you.
And maybe just to add on that, also from me, from Susanne, I was just thinking that, I mean, underwater noise, when we talk about emission, I mean, somehow for me, it falls also under like kind of ship emissions, because it's one of the emission of. So I think, as I understood also from, because Mila, she also sent around this document, no? And then there's also kind of a definition of additional strategic priorities, etc. And so I think there actually underwater noise could be taken up as a additional bullet, so to say, so that it's clear that it falls under this, which obviously it's a quite important issue. And as also Seppo just said, HELCOM is doing already quite some work on this, and it would be of course great if PA Ship would support that also.
Thank you. Now I wonder, are you ready to move on to action 2? Yeah, I guess we are. Here we go. So, research on emerging thematic challenges related to clean shipping and its impact on the environment and wildlife in the Baltic Sea. And here's research of impact on shipping on the marine environment. A number of research papers. Isn't the current indicator, but we are very much open to more and new indicators. And to me, when we come to this, I think this might also be related to underwater noise. Maybe underwater noise is part of action 1 and action 2. But please read through, reflect, and then ask if you can. Please give your comments.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I was wondering about this indicator.
Yeah.
The number of research papers. So is this something that is considering, for example, all the publications that you write for a certain project that has a flagship status, for example? So I'm thinking about my project, which already ended. So if we say that we produce 70 papers, so will I report 70 to you coming out of this project?
Yes, you would.
Okay, but you would not, in that case, need a PA ship label in the manuscript itself saying that this was produced under PA ship.
No,
okay.
Not in each paper. It's just that the project is related, and if the report says that it's coming out of that project, that is enough.
Okay, Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, and to my understanding, the term flagship project is now not a strict thing as it used to be. So it's now used in a way, or by some in a way, and by some not. So right, at least in policy area SAFE, we talk about projects supporting the policy area. We don't call them. Some people call them flagship projects, but we don't have a certain stamp on them anymore. It used to be important when applying for funding in EUS in Interreg Baltic Sea region, but that factor has been taken away. So it's just the term flagship or not. But when it comes to projects, it's still relevant with a research paper, and it's still relevant with the connection to the policy area.
Okay, if I may continue, this is on the action item itself. In the past, I remember a discussion. I think this was before these meetings were split to the operational and the administrative part. There was some discussion that, okay, maybe this funding tool for the Interregs, it should be developed in a way that it's guided towards more on the solutions. For example, doing a pilot on onshore power or things like these, and yes, less about the research efforts. So I'm kind of wondering that now this is going the opposite way. So if you are supporting research on emerging thematic challenges, then it means that there may not be a ready-made technological solution to a problem at this point yet. So I'm kind of wondering that where the emphasis is now. Are we moving towards more on the applications, or are we doing this for the basic research for the emerging challenges? Could you clarify?
No, I can't clarify, but I because this is work in progress. This is what we want the EU strategy for the Baltic Sea region to be, and it's up to us to define it. So what is clear, as you said, that the funding instrument, the regional funding instruments, they rather want to see implementation rather than research. But there is other funding instruments on, especially on EU level, but also on national level, that is more focused on research. So it doesn't mean that projects must be based on the regional Interreg funding. They could get funding somewhere else and be part of EUSBSR, because EUSBSR is not a part of Interreg Baltic Sea region. It's standalone. It's a strategy, and many of the projects get their funding from Interregs, but not all of them. So but I really appreciate your point. Because that puts a finger on, should this policy area be focusing more on implementation and pilots, or should it support more basic research as well? So to me, this is a good question to be asked, both, especially to the steering group of the policy area, but also with the advice from you projects and experts in the area. Any comments from any other people?
I think here, Suzanne, again, I think that's a very good question, and it's a quite tricky. I think obviously both would be very good, because especially also for the discussions in the fora, you often sometimes, I mean, you still need, the research, kind of clarifying the impacts on the environment and wildlife, because that's the first thing, industry would question. Does it really? Is the impact so bad, etc.? So you often still need really good research and results to justify your policies. And then you can think about implementation and how you can solve the problem. So I think there's still a need in a way to support also research on emerging thematic challenges. But then obviously in a second step, it's very important to go forward with pilots and you know, test solutions, etc.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying, the first action is really implementing things, but this one is more on the research, and we need both. So that's your view of things. Yeah, no, it's really a good discussion. Where do we go? Where do we focus? Yep. Other comments?
May I, Andrea Cervantes again. I was kicked out of the meeting, so I probably missed what Jukka mentioned, but I heard just a bit about the projects, and I think it is really important to have not only the research papers, but like what projects are working on which areas, as well as what impacts have been addressed and what we are missing, like what are the gaps to fulfill or to fill here from this action. So I would say those few things like projects, papers, as well as impacts. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reflections? Moving on to action 3. And the third one is support development of shoreside facilities to enhance clean shipping measures, including infrastructure for climate neutral and clean fuels. So the indicator would be development of shoreside facilities to enhance clean shipping, blah, blah, blah. Basically the same wording. And the value would be the number of projects doing this. So this is coming really close to the Green Corridor initiatives and numbers, I believe. But I'll leave you, I'll leave the word to you guys.
If I may.
Please.
This sounds to me like this is very close to Connecting Europe facility, because, okay, let's say that you are making an investment on shoreside things, so
yes.
updating infrastructure, so that's easily millions of euros, if tens of millions of euros. So I'm kind of thinking that, okay, sure, it's relevant because the port is the kind of connection point between the ship and the land. Yeah, so I think it's relevant, but this sounds to me like very expensive in that sense. So I'm kind of wondering automatically Connecting Europe facility in this action item.
Yeah, when it comes to, I don't know the financing of the green corridors. I'm not, because there are several green corridors, and I haven't looked at the financing of those, but it's interesting reflection that if there are port investments, it's usually Connect Europe facility co-financing that's relevant.
Maybe I can jump in here, Stefan from Port of Hamburg once more. Yes, major part is coming from CEF and national funds, but also the Interreg programs play a number, especially if it comes to cooperation with other ports and finding best suitable solutions and or compare available solutions and which fit best. So in such cases, Interreg really plays a big role, especially in our port in Hamburg. And I know also for Bremen that they do a lot in Interreg in these spheres. And I think in principle, for the strategy, it's a good idea to look into the development of such terminals, because it gives an indication how the proceeding is ongoing, and the strategy itself maybe shouldn't look that deep into where's the money coming from, but how are the how is the sector developing within the Baltic Sea region, and is there a continuous way in achieving also the European goals or not, and if not, where are the challenges? So I think it's quite good action indicator to get some information on that, and especially from the Interreg programs. I think some value could be drawn out of the cooperation between the ports and the thinking which infrastructure is needed. So all these questions are not obviously dealt with in SAF. So it's more the general geopolitical approach which plays a role here, because it's really obvious that not all terminals in the Baltic can go for hydrogen or ammonia or methanol infrastructure, because it's much too costly. And the question is also, where is the ships and the shipping lines needs, and where do they bunker in future, and so on and so on. So I think there's still a lot of open questions to tackle, and this could be done with these indicators and action, or within these indicators and action.
Yeah, I agree that we could probably develop other indicators as well. For example,
yes.
Number of working pilot solutions important, not just the projects or the real a number of port calls that are using the facilities, because I know we have an issue with some ships not using onshore power due to different reasons. I believe the action. I haven't heard anyone have anything against the action itself, but I think we could do some work on the indicator.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further comments from anyone?
This is Anita. May I? I don't know. I haven't found any hand here. I'm Anita from Finland, and unfortunately, I could join the meeting only recently.
Yeah.
I fully agree with the previous speaker, because I think that this indicator is very wide, and the needs, as also mentioned by the previous speaker, if I understood him correctly, the needs in different areas in different ports are different. So perhaps this indicator could be specified a little bit. And I had also a couple of comments concerning the making research issue, but I can perhaps send those in written form. But here it's only saying development of shoreside facilities to enhance clean shipping measures, including infrastructure for alternative fuels. So it's very wide, as I said, and we should specify, we should narrow down a little bit what we mean by this. Or is it idea to keep it this wide so that we can do whatever we would like to do? Thank you.
Thank you. That is sort of up to this new action item. Do we want to keep it wide because maybe we don't know where the needs will be developing? They might go one direction or another. So one suggestion could be to keep it wide, but to, as mentioned before, specify indicators more, which kind of pushes the action towards certain directions, and there could be more than one indicator. But thank you very much for your comment, and also that you are sending your feedback also in written. That's very much appreciated. Any further comments on action 3? Okay. The comments and suggestions, I know that Sami had tried to write them down, but that's sort of the whispering game. So it would be even better if you formulate your opinions, your comments and suggestions and send them to Milla and Sami as well. That would be great. Thank you.
Maybe I can ask a question about sending the written information. Do we have a deadline or like a kind of timeline for this, that the comments will be taken into account?
Oh, that's a good question, which there's nothing about that in my script. So let me freebase here. I know that the policy area SHIP has a steering group meeting on the 17th of October. If I suggest that you send the feedback in a week, that would be great. The process when the policy area will send this on up to the strategy level, that is the end of the year. So we welcome feedback all the way towards the end of the year, but the earlier the better. So I would suggest sending comments and feedback by next week.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. I know we spent some more time on that subject than was in the agenda, which is perfect because you are the ones bringing more value to this new update of the strategy. So thank you very much for your input. We're now going into the projects, and there will be 3 projects presented. Then after these 3 projects, we will have a short discussion and questions, and after that we will have the break. And the first project is Baltic Sea ENAV, and I have been asked to give that presentation, so I will do that. So let's see. Boom. And since I'm not the expert, I'm not going to spend all of the 10 minutes on it. And that does take some minutes back. So the project is called Baltic Sea ENAV, Shared Waters, Same Standards, Baltic Sea Partnership for Future Navigation. And these are the slides from the project manager, Marlene Svegreus. Baltic Sea ENAV is basically, it's running 3 years, and it will implement these S100 standards. And what are S100 standards? Those are the new data standards for basically all maritime information regarding aspects of the navigation and data needed for navigation. This comes from the hydrographic offices, but it also comes from ports, it comes from meteorological institutes. So very many institutions are involved, and some examples of the standards are the bathymetric surface of the floor, the surface currents, the water level, etc. So it brings these together, and they are all interoperable. And the project have the Swedish lead partner, and have then project partners which are similar to the Swedish Maritime Administration, the maritime authorities in these countries, but also the Finnish Meteorological Institute, and also research organizations, and also provider of navigational systems, and associated organizations, which are the Polish and Lithuanian authorities that could not be partners, and also the one mentioned the organizations that distribute this data to the ships so that the ships can use the information in their electronic navigational displays. So the output is related to the International Hydrographic Office has said, okay, we have a new generation of standards and we will roll them out in a certain order. And in the first bunch of standards that will roll out and will be available to new navigation systems on board are the navigational charts, the seafloor information, the water level, and the sea surface currents. And what we will do in the Baltic Sea is have that as a one package. And what is extra good for the Baltic Sea is that the second output is that we will harmonize this between the different countries. So every country will produce the information in different systems, but when they are displayed and when they are distributed, everything that relates to the customers who are using this will be harmonized. And the first work package is preparing the solution. So you can see the little purple things are the test areas. And all these countries, each country produce the information in different ways. Then it's piloting and test these solutions in the test areas. This will be done in simulators, but also on board, and that's while Furuno is on board and will produce a new solution that can be used on board ships. And the IMO, International Maritime Organization, has said that these new standards are allowed to be used operationally on ships in systems from 1st of January 2026, and from 2029 all new systems must have this capability to use S100 standards. And then it comes to transferring these solutions, and this is where it's very good to have all the countries involved and pushing these solutions at international organizations. And the Baltic, this is really where the Baltic Sea region is being a forerunner. We are the first, we are leading the world in implementing this, and the rest of the world are looking at us as a role model. So there are a lot of stuff ongoing, and this is, details of it. You will see it in the presentation that will be sent out to you. But some of the challenges that you run into could be, for example, that the timing and because every production system from the national hydrographic offices, they need to be all need to change, and if one country is late, the delivery time schedule of the harmonized solution might be late. So this interoperability is tough. And then there is some, if you look on the last bullet, the military in Sweden and Finland are not too happy to give out detailed information of the seafloor information. So that is a challenge on how do we harmonize if two countries are not providing the same level of detail. And with that, I thank the Baltic Sea ENAV project, BS ENAV. Thank you. And thus I turn over to Jarkko Pavola and the Madame project. And I will, are you here, Jarkko?
Jarkko is not here, but me, Tero Jokela, I will present this.
Hello. So I will stop presenting and I'll let you take over and share your screen.
Thank you. Let me try to do that. All right. So, am I sharing something now?
Yes, you are.
Is it the PowerPoint? Yes.
But it's not yet. Yeah, there you go.
Let's try it. Okay, did it work? I think I have two screens, so I might be in.
It's right in the normal. So it's not the presentation mode, but right now it's very clear information. So if you don't have a lot of
yeah, I think I don't know if I can share which monitor I share, but let's go like this.
It's very visible.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Tero Jokela from Turku University of Applied Sciences, and I'm presenting you briefly the Madame project, so maritime data methods for safe shipping. And we are also similar timescale as for Baltic Sea ENAV, so we started last year November, and we have still 2 more years to go with the project. Budget is 3.4 million, more about that one much. And as partners in the consortium, we have authorities from Denmark, Finland, and Sweden as partners, and from Estonia and Poland as associated partners. And then we have companies developing these technologies and solutions like DMC, Nausim, and Sternula. And then we have universities or research organizations, Novia, Turku University of Applied Sciences, and National Institute of Technologies from Poland. And DFDS is as a partner for piloting, so we are planning on piloting on their vessels. So as background, the project aims to support these national authorities in developing these cybersecure digital transport infrastructure services in the Baltic Sea region. And in the Madame project, what we develop are these 3 services, so digital navigation warnings, digital aids to navigation, and digital VTS. And in order to be able to transmit these services to the ships, we are also developing technologies for this delivery, such as this maritime connectivity platform and VDES connectivity. And we hope that the results of this project will improve the availability of this important information that is needed for safe shipping, and also to increase the innovative business development in maritime sector and help in using this shared maritime space. And also one important thing we are trying to do is to let the standardization organizations know what we do, and try to know as well as we can what the standardization organizations do. And then about the current status of the project. So we have this development of these services for this navigational warnings, is the navigation and VTS ongoing. And also the development of this maritime connectivity platform is ongoing. Our partner DMC is very active in this development, and they have presented demonstrations of using this MCP in IALA working groups. And in order to be able to pilot or test these services, we also need some ECDIS or display system where we can show these services in the pilots. So we are also developing kind of test display system where we can display these navigational warnings, for example, because not, to our knowledge, not the commercial technologies are currently yet capable of showing those. And regarding this piloting, so we are preparing for the first navigational warning pilots in Denmark, and we have partners have been installing these VDES, or this HF data exchange connectivity systems to this the vessel called Paul Löwenörn owned by DMA, and the target is to trial with or pilot with that ship the navigational warnings transmission from the authority to the ship. And these first navigational warning pilots are planned for spring of next year, but we are already preparing for them quite heavily. And why these navigational warnings demonstrations are the first ones? So that's because the standardization for these services is most mature at the moment. And then as a project, we have tried to be visible in right places. So we had a stand in European Maritime Days together with another Baltic Sea region project called Ormobus. And our partners have been participating in different working groups in different organizations defining these services and technologies for the services and other kind of organizations as well. And then coming up next, so we are continuing the development of these services still, and also the display system for these services is under development, and also more functionalities are added to this maritime connectivity platform. But preparations for the first navigational warning pilots is ongoing, and we are starting the planning for this HD navigation and vessel traffic services pilots. And challenges experienced or anticipated. So as these standards are not ready or not available in commercial devices, there are some challenges in this pilot's planning, but we were aware of that already from the beginning, and that's why we are developing this display system we are using for the pilots. But yeah, I think that was rather quick presentation of the project.
Thank you very much, Tero. And we will take questions after the next presentation. So, Heikki, do you want to share your screen, or should I share your presentation?
You can both.
Okay, I will share the screen then. Oh, sorry about that. Here we go. Boom, and please go ahead, Heikki.
Yes, okay, this Sustainable Flow project. Next slide, please. So it's from this Central Baltic Program Priority 2, Improved Environment and Resource Use. Objective PO5, decrease CO2 emissions. And looking back at that time when we were doing the applications, so for the first run, there were 5 applications, and the second stage there were 3 applications, and finally one project got financing, so it's this Sustainable Flow. We are acting as a lead partner, and then we have good partners from the Central Baltic area like SMA, Högskolan på Åland, Transport Association from Riga, Taltech from Estonia, FinTraffic from Finland, and Transportföreningen, so they are representing the 59 Swedish ports. It's a bigger number than we have in Finland at the ports. So here is our team, and we started to work 1st of May, and we had gone through the harbor operations. We know now roughly the emissions from each port, how they work, and so on. And during this work, we had come, let's say, very close to our 7 pilot ports. So of course, we've done a lot of different projects here in Rauma, with the Port of Rauma, for example, or Port of Pori, and now all the other partners are at least at the same level. So the ports are different, pilot ports are different. Mariehamn is a unique. Riga, Tallinn, Norrköping, Oxelösund. So our pilot ports have been very active in the very beginning. I might say that the Swedish pilot ports, Norrköping, Oxelösund, are in a way the most keen developers. So they saw immediately that this tool we are building up can be their working tool for cutting the emissions and get to know the status of the amount of emissions. The budget is 3.4 million, and we are running at the end of May 2026. So that last month, May, is actually our reporting month. So all our activities will be finished in April next. And at current status, we did a huge list of requirements what this digital tool should do. It's so many pages and so many items that probably there's only the piece between Arabs and the Israelis is missing from that list. But we have big expectations, and earlier project, flow project, efficient flow project, finished also very nicely, and then it became a strategic digital tool for FinTraffic to share the data with the Finnish ports, and it's in wide use in the Finnish ports now. And in a way, I have the same feeling with this tool that development will go on, so that we will have a baby, and the ports will continue developing to their special needs, because ports are so different, for example, in this project, so they have a bit different needs. And then we have started looking the solar panel investments, and we can see that not all the ports like to have solar panels, or cannot have, or they have all their roofs full of solar panels. So that's one thing we're going to solve pretty soon. Click. Yeah, so this work is now going on. So we will start cooperation with the external expertise company on the procurement, and sign the contract, and the work continues, so that we will have next fall 2025 where we have a test version running in our pilot ports. So that's the situation at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Heikki. And that means that we have open up for question and comments from all of the audience to these 3 projects, Baltic Sea ENAV, Madame, and Sustainable Flow. Oh, people want to have a break. Just one comment from my side, as when presenting Baltic Sea ENAV, I mentioned the 4 standard S100 standards were like the first wave of standards. And then in Madame, there were 3 standards that they were testing, but 2 of them are more like the second wave. So the input of Madame to the development of these standards will be really important in order to make the standards better when they are released. And there will be new projects that will implement these standards in a harmonized way in the Baltic Sea region. At least that is what the plans from the people behind these 2 projects. I hope I didn't lie too much there, Tero.
Ulf?
Yes?
This is Anita. I don't know how to ask Flora. I sent a message, but I don't know.
You take the floor.
Thank you. You gave the first presentation on behalf of someone else.
Yes.
Yes, but I just wanted to ask if you are aware of who from Finland are involved, because you know that that IHO and WMO, which means that this hydrology part, that part of this standardization is made in our agency, Finnish Transport and Communications Agency, but the IHO part, WMO part is made in Finnish Meteorological Institute. So that's why I'm wondering if you can name me who from Finland are involved in this project, because this is really important project, and in a long run it will take time, as you also already mentioned, but to be developed further it will take even more time. But this is without no doubt, this is a very important project, and that's why I'm interested in to hear who from Finland are involved. Thank you.
So you mean the actual persons, because from Finland it's Traficom and also FMI, the Meteorological Institute. So please drop an email and I'll pass it on to the project. Or Sami, if you take a note of this, and we will provide you with the contact people in Finland.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can reply directly. Person who is involved and responsible in Finland is Rainer Mustaniemi, our national hydrographer, for the part that is Traficom and the Finnish Hydrographic Office is involved. I'm not sure who is from the Finnish Meteorological Institute.
So we will get back to the contact at the Finnish Meteorological Institute. Thank you, Seppo, for that answer.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm from FMI, but I'm not involved in this personally. But I can find out if there is a problem with that. The question that I have is that there is a I don't remember if it's an indirect project, but it exactly targets one of the pilot areas of this ENAV project, and that's the Quark area.
Yep.
So I was already thinking about this S100 during a talk which I heard earlier today from that other project. So I'm kind of wondering that probably it would make sense to link these 2 projects together. So since the other one is taking the ECDIS approach and the other project is taking a kind of the opposite approach of general public looking at environmental information in the Quark area. So I'm kind of wondering that, okay, these are the 2 sides of the same coin. So it might be useful to connect these 2 projects with each other. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's the name of the project?
It's Quark and Data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's run
good.
by University of Vaasa, so that's
Yeah.
the coordinator. Yeah.
Thank you. And if you have more information, please send it on email or stuff.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further comments?
Yes, from Stefan Port of Pembroke once more.
Yes.
I also find it very interesting, the Baltic Sea ENAV project, and I just had a talk with our Federal Waterway Administration, which also take care of North and Baltic Sea in our cases. And I learned that they're setting up a test field, either North or Baltic Sea, not decided yet, but maybe this test field could be also relevant, interesting for the project Baltic Sea ENAV, and or at least the context of stuff dealing with setting up this test field for any future cooperation. So it's more like a linking of contacts and see what's happening then next. But please, if they are interested, send my contact details and I put them in contact with our Federal Waterway Administration staff.
Yes, I believe they're part of the project, but please drop an email on that test area that you heard about, and
yes.
we'll double check it.
Seppo comments here that the BSH in Rostock, the German Hydrographic Office, is involved with the project. So I think your national hydrographer, Thomas Dehling, is aware of what's taking place, but I'm not sure if they are aware of your test bed or test area. Thank you.
Any further comments? Thank you so much for the comments and suggestions. And this is really good. This is exactly why we meet in this group, to find more information about maybe this test area or this other project. So to make connections that may work better together. So thank you much for the comments. We'll now run into a break, and I suggest that we keep the 15 minutes and reconvene at 2:30 or 3:30, wherever you are. So see you then again.
Thank you, Ulf. I had to jump to other events, so I'm here on the other side of the bay, Massachusetts Marine Academy. So here meeting. Thank you. Nice meeting.
Bye.
Heikki, just wanted to say that I find your project Sustainable Flow very interesting for this.
Me too.
Proposal that we are doing. So maybe you and I can continue on email, maybe some sort of discussion and involvement in this.
Yeah, we do so. Yeah, I took your email and.
Perfect. I'll send you an email. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, break is over, and see if you are back. Well, I'm not going to ask you to turn on your camera or your mics because I can't see you anyway when I'm sharing my screen. So I will just go to projects, the second wave. And which projects are they? They are the blue supply chains. It's Reisfer and Open Risk 2. So let's start off with Stefan.
Yes.
And I will stop presenting and let you take the floor.
Perfect. So I try to share and hope it will start in a second. Okay, can you see my screen?
It's coming in right now, and I will tell you when it's up for me.
Okay.
Now I can see a lot of screens on your screen, so
shit.
Put your presentation in front.
Yeah, I just try to. Sorry. Okay, just uploading now. It should be ready in a second, and we should start. Oh.
You suddenly stopped sharing.
Okay, I see it in the screen. I hope you too.
I don't.
Looking good?
Yeah, it's visible here.
Okay, so now it's reloading. It could be something going on in my place. So please go ahead, Stefan.
Okay, then I go ahead. So my name is Stefan, working with Port of Hamburg Marketing, and we are lead partner of the Blue Supply Chain project, which we presented in the beginning of these PA steering groups. I was asked to give a short update on the current situation. Just very shortly, Blue Supply Chain project supports port authorities and port operators in implementing long-term measures to decarbonize port locations. And in detail, we are looking into greening of port operations with 2 pilots, in green energy supply with 2 pilots, and in the setup of green transport chains, where we concentrate on a rail ferry link, which is kind of special as it is the last rail ferry link in the Baltic Sea region. So I will go through all the 5 pilots in short to present what we are doing, and hope to connect with some of you to exchange on a later stage on different aspects you wish to. So within the first pilot action we're doing, it's very much about onshore power supply, but in a way that we're looking for small flexible solutions for ports which are not huge like Hamburg, or ports which also have smaller terminals, where the standard solutions or more standardized solutions not really fit in the landscape. So here the Port of Skagen is really looking into a flexible system, which for sure also requires some infrastructure developments, but anyhow is flexible enough to be shared between different berths for ships of medium sized, I would say. So the system currently is being installed, as you can see on the pictures, and will be tested begin next year. There will be also a study trip organized most likely mid next year. So if some of you are interested in see what their solution looks like, please stay tuned. Invitation will follow in the next year. So the system is equipped with various voltages and frequencies which can be served. The port itself may be a fishing port. Anyhow, we're really speaking about this huge ship trawlers, not small shipping boats like on the North Sea. Sometimes you see in Hume Zone or stuff like that, but really huge boats. So really a system for medium-sized ships. Then we have 2 cases in the setup of entire regions to push forward decarbonization. On the left-hand side, you can see one attempt of our Swedish partners together with the consortia in looking into how to transform a Swedish national strategy into smaller regional strategies. It's all about bunkering facilities and green fuel supply. So in Sweden, there's a huge way forward in decarbonizing the entire country, and shipping plays a major role, and we have very good results in that, how such a strategy might look like. And now the next step is how to cut it down to a regional level. We have a pilot port, which is Umea up in the north, where we have idle circumstances like good possibility in creating alternative fuels and storing them and also serving them to shipping lines. And the idea is to look what kind of challenges they have in adapting a national strategy, breaking it down to a regional level, and so other regions in the Baltic might learn from that, all the hiccups, challenges, but also the good solutions which might be there. So a strategy methodology has been developed and will be applied the next year. On the right-hand side, a very interesting case in Lithuania. They are looking into developing the first zero-emission inland waterway connecting a seaport with inland Kaunas region. And in that specific inland ports needs to be adopted to this strategy. They need to invest in electric push boats, or at least alternative fuel driven, so it might be a mixture of battery or hydrogen or even pure battery, which is still into analysis phase. So far it looks like they really can go for pure battery inland pusher, which is quite unique, and really serve the entire stretch with just one stop, which needs to be there anyway as some loading and unloading procedure in the middle of the entire transport route usually takes place. They're quite advanced. They also got some additional support and funding from the World Bank and other sources. So this comes to reality, and also for us in Germany, this is a super interesting case, as we have a lot of inland waterways, also like the Netherlands, and is also a crucial role in these entire autonomization strategies. So autonomization is the first thing or the second thing, and greening vice versa. So also there, the reports will be online very soon from the analysis phase, and then we going into the real implementation and user experience reports and guidelines for replicators will be drawn up. Then last but not least, we have this rail ferry, which I was speaking about in the beginning. Also an interesting case, which connects two seaports, the port of Rostock and the port of Trelleborg, so an international shipping route, together with the hinterland transport. We even look further, and there the question is whether such rail ferry could be even more sustainable in the future, how to adopt infrastructure in ports, what need to be done in which ports to support the greening, thinking of an entire supply chain. Can port authorities really enable? So they also have to consider different aspects, maybe not their usual work covers, how to set up stakeholder engagement, how to motivate stakeholders to jointly push such a strategy and bring it then really into best practice, so to say, which is a hell of work, I have to say. Our first experiences show that it's really, really tough to do so. What comes along with that is also digitalization of transport offers. The rail ferry itself, it's combined transport leg, and combined transport is for sure better than poor long distance truck transport, but combined transport not always is the easiest thing to organize, and there we cooperate with a startup called Mobility, which developed one-stop shop online booking platform already into the market, but they didn't have experience with these rail ferry transport links, and for them it's also an interesting case in how to showcase such an entire transport leg, how to market it in such a tool, and by that also support more greening of entire transport chains.
Two more minutes.
Yes, will be fine for me. What's coming up next? Our reports will be online very soon. Some you can find already. So the presentation, I guess, will be shared after the meeting. Feel free to click the link and find it. We are now finalizing the stakeholder engagement and event timeline for 2025. So stay tuned. We will inform about our ongoings and also request some evaluation of our doing, please be invited and follow us on our channels like LinkedIn and the webpage. One very nice event still to be confirmed, but looks good. 23rd October, we might be at the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe on the Working Party in and waterway transport, where we present the Lithuanian zero-emission waterway case, which draw a lot of interest also in these policy bodies, and this is for sure very nice. Some challenges, the retrofitting of gantry cranes. I was not going into detail in this presentation, but the one before we had is still very, very challenging. A lot of cost explosions due to inflation and market uncertainties, tendering procedures which are not so easy to fulfill. Anyhow, the retrofitting of gantry cranes remains a very economic feasible thing, as a new gantry crane costs about 2 million euro and the retrofitting about 400,000 euro, and we still have a lot of diesel-driven gantry cranes on the terminal surfaces in the Baltic, so there's a huge potential, and we hope to still also come up with some solutions here to showcase in the Baltic. And for onshore power supply, the same applies due to inflation and cost explosion. A lot of ports currently struggle with the installation, but to our experience, it's ongoing because of regulation for sure, but also as something needs to be done. Anyhow, this is the main challenge and tricky ports for us. Yes, that's it. Thank you for your attention. For a quick run through this project, feel free to contact me in case of questions or cooperation ideas. We are very open and look forward to that. We still run 1.5 years and hope to slightly help to sustain the transport sector.
Thank you very much, Stefan. And you can now close your presentation. We get back to questions after all three project presentations. So the next one to present is Reisfer. Please take over the presentation and the screen.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
1 minute. Not used to the Skype solution anymore.
We call it resilience.
Yes. Okay, what now? It is loading for me. Hopefully you can see it soon as well. Take some time, I guess.
Now it's loading.
Now it's loading in our end as well. So please go ahead. You can start talking and it will appear.
Yes, as long as I'm seeing it as well, because yeah, perfect. So about the Reisfer project, a brief overview. Hopefully some of you remember it from the last time I gave an overview, but we started in April this year, so we have just reached the 6-month mark on the project, and we are funded from the Interreg Central Baltic program and under the same program objective as the Sustainable Flow project, so CO5 and CO2 emission reductions. We are a partnership of 9 partners and a budget of around 3.7 million euros, which makes us one of the biggest Central Baltic projects there is. And it is good that out of the 9 partners, 6 are representing the industry. So are the ferry operators or ferry owners, and 3 supporting research institutions, and TalTech Estonian Maritime Academy as the lead partner for the project. Our main aim is to reduce CO2 emission on the selected routes that we have from the ferry companies by 10 to 20%, altogether in the 3 countries and the Åland islands as well. So from the map you can see that we have quite good coverage from the Estonian islands, the Helsinki-Suomenlinna route from the Finnish archipelago sea, the Åland Islands and northern Stockholm archipelago as well. And we have taken as our motto, our slogan, then sharing knowledge is in the heart of Reisver, which means that we are not only trying to keep the knowledge within the partnership and help our partners to reduce emissions from their ferries, but also share everything that we have outside as well. We have around 17 ferries included in our pilot activities, so quite a good coverage in that sense as well. But what have we done within the 6 months? As I mentioned, we just finished our first 6-month reporting period. One of the main activities was setting the baseline of emissions from the ferry companies, because we have stated the aim of 10 to 20% reduction in emissions. So we tackled that part quite long time. The partners are making their procurements or preparations for the procurements into the investments that we are aiming to do within the pilot activities. Maybe a few words about the pilot activities themselves is that these are 3 groups of solutions. First of all, electrification solutions. The Swedish partner is making one of their diesel propulsion engines to battery electric, and also testing the peak shaving technology on one of the ferries. Then there are different technical solutions such as cooling and heating, hull coatings, LED lightings, and we are also testing more efficient propellers on 2 of the ferries. And then, of course, different operational methods such as energy management systems or fuel monitoring systems, and also doing a few studies on optimizing the ferry routes, scheduling and routing wise, so looking into that as well. We just a couple of weeks ago held our first face-to-face partners meeting, so we didn't do it over the summer, but met in the end of the first period. And of course, a lot of administrative effort during the first 6 months. What is up next over the second period? So the next 6 months, there will be 2 main studies, like supportive studies for the decarbonization efforts. In the first of those, we will describe thoroughly the setup of the inter-island ferry transport here in the region, cover the legal base, what is going on for the ferries, so not just for the big cargo ships. We will describe the different routes and the technical side of the ferries, and also the pilot activities and what can be the next step for emerging technologies and trends for the decarbonization of ferries. And the second study will focus more on the governance side. So as we know, most of the ferry services here in the region are like public services, and we will take a look into the policy making side and what about the funding decisions or how the green technologies will be implemented, and what the governance side thinks of these things. And as I mentioned about the sharing of knowledge, we will have our first of 3 annual conferences. We tentatively call it the Small Island Ferry Summit, and it will be held in March in Helsinki or in Suomenlinna Island. Check out our LinkedIn page soon. There will be probably a calendar block with the date. So, of course, everybody interested in green technologies and the ferry industry side in the Baltic Sea, then you are welcome to join us in the conference. What challenges we experienced? So, as I mentioned about the ferry side, then ferries are operating somewhat in a regulatory gray area regarding the decarbonization aims and efforts. Like, yes, there are general targets for transport and national decarbonization plans, but no such legislations like there are for big cargo and passenger ships. And when we take into account that nearly 25% of the CO2 emissions in the Baltic Sea come from vessels under the 5,000 of gross tonnage, then it is important to address that side as well.
2 minutes.
Yes, of course. So we collected the data from the partners, and as you can see from the table, then every single partner uses different emission factors for calculating their emissions based on fuel consumption, although they are all stating to use either marine diesel oil or HVO. So really different. So we just present some number, but we will take a deeper look into that, and by the end of the project or even earlier, we will present the most suitable methods or discuss about these things, what could be used for the ferries the best. And that is it for me. As I mentioned, follow the LinkedIn page for the latest information, and we have just published our webpage as well in the Central Baltic Projects Hub. So the latest information and maybe some blog posts upcoming in there as well.
Thank you very much, Kadi.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that means you can leave the presentation floor to Open Risk 2, and I believe it's Mirka who will present.
Yes, good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. The first to check before.
We can hear you and
Great.
We can see you. Now it's only the presentation lacking.
That I will now try to do next. Can you now see the presentation mode?
It's loading. It's loading.
Okay. Because I can see it, so it's not enough.
So then you go ahead and start because it's.
But is it loading? You have it the presentation now, or?
Does anyone have it? It stopped loading for me. Sorry.
I haven't. I don't see anything. It's just totally black. Now I can see.
Now we can see.
Okay, so I will try the slideshow again, or maybe I can actually try the.
It works fine like this.
Is it? Can you now see?
Yes.
Great. Great. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So yeah, I'm here to tell you about the current status of the Operis 2 project, and just briefly introducing myself. So I'm Mirka Laurila-Pant, working as a special advisor at the Finnish Transport and Communication Agency Traficom, and we are the lead partner in this project, and I'm working as the project manager in this. And I hope the slide changed. So briefly the background. So Operis 2 is a collaborative project focused on developing these transparent and practical tools to enhance the shared and dynamic maritime traffic risk picture of the Baltic Sea region. And funded by Interreg Baltic Sea Region program, Operis 2 launched in November 2023 and will run through October 2026. And the key element, of course, of the project is the partnership. So we have 7 partners. So the lead partner, Finnish Transport Communication, SSC Traficom, and then Aalto University from Finland, Norwegian Coastal Administration from Norway, Dansk University of Technology from Poland, and then University of Tartu from Estonia, and University of Helsinki from Finland, and then we have a Northern Dimension partnership on transport and logistics. And you can get a little bit more information from our website and LinkedIn page, where we try to post our news and whatever report we have posted on the website. And so what is our current status after working about 1 year now? So in the project we have these 3 different components. So where the first one is this AIS Y-Risk Baltic tool with this ICE module. So this tool is developed for automated calculation of risk in marine waters, and in the tool the risk will be presented in these illustrative graphs that can be interacted with. So for instance, we can see different risk on traffic scenarios, or what type of ships are sailing in which area and what type of accidents could be possible. And then there's this ICE model, which development is in progress, and it will provide possibility to calculate the risk in ICE navigation as well. And then this second component is this eco-sensitivity tool, which helps to assess the Baltic marine ecosystem vulnerability to spills. And in this tool, it can be used by the response authorities to see what are the most sensitive areas when, for instance, the spill occurs, and what to protect and so on. And in this tool we have, or the partners have collected oil spill data or oil spill impact data on nature values. For instance, the species sensitivity data from the previous studies and projects which have been done in the Baltic Sea region. And now this data will be then used to calculate the sensitivity of the different ecosystem components that is then used as a basis of this eco-sensitivity tool. And then we have also this third component, so this ERMARE matrix, which is the tool to evaluate the risk management performance of the administration. So it can be used, for example, self-evaluation of the risk management performance capacity of the different authority. And this model is now in the stage of testing. So we have tested the model's reliability. So and submitted the manuscript of the reliability testing of the tool in September for peer review. So there hopefully will be a scientific paper about this tool. So, and the next steps, so in the next step of the project, all these 3 models, which still require some technical readiness, will be finalized in the terms of their structure, and the focus will then shift to building the software or the platforms necessary to fully operationalize these tools and make them available for the wider piloting activities next year. And this will be done in our midterm conference, which will be still, the date will be still announced, but it will be in next year, either late spring or early autumn. For instance, the project partners who are working in the AIS Y-Risk Baltic tool will draft the first version and then also integrate the ICE model in this overall tool. And in the eco-sensitivity tool, the model structure also will be finalized, and the data that I mentioned in the previous slide will be then incorporated for these calculations. And they also develop or creating the user manual for the tool. And in the ERMARE matrix, the next step is to develop the user-friendly web-based software, so it's more easier to use. And as a new addition, we are also developing a practical and transparent method for evaluating the maritime risk assessment quality. So the method aims to help authorities to evaluate quality of risk assessments done by external private sector, for instance, related to the navigational safety impacts of offshore wind farm development. And then, yeah, so we will have actually next week, we will have this next on-site OPERS-2 partner meeting in Tallinn. And there we'll have internal workshops planned for each tool to finalize these draft specifications and plan the next steps, for instance, piloting activities. And then a separate AIS-Y risk Baltic tool workshop will be organized in Norway for the partners working on this tool, and then also the DNV, who is the external expert in this group also. And they will work on integrating the ICE model and the different data, for instance, the near-miss data and accident data to this model structure. And then, as I mentioned, this OPERS-2 midterm conference, which will be organized in Tallinn. So it will be late spring or early autumn next year. And the invitation will be sent to all the interest parties in early next year also. Yeah. And then just in my final slides about these challenges or what we have experienced. And so for the AIS-Y risk tool, we need this high resolution AIS data from all the Baltic coastal countries. So and they should cover like a specific years. So now we have like we have contacted the responsible authorities in each, or we will contact the responsible authorities in each of these countries one by one to get hold on this high resolution AIS data to get the model running and to finalize it. But so basically this challenge is solved, but the work is still in progress in this part. And yeah, I guess this was my final slide of this OPERS-2.
Thank you very much. I'll see. So, oh yeah, I forgot to share my screen. I will do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking, may I ask something, Mirka?
Yes, this is the discussion, so you're kicking off. Thank you.
Thank you. So, first of all, thank you, Mirka, for the presentation. I have a couple of questions. First of all, do you recall in the past, it was several years ago, I think we had a project which was called Oil Risk or something like that. Yep. So Sakari Kuikka was the leader or director for that project. Are you using that kind of data in your modeling, or is all the data you are using now, is it brand new?
No, for that specific project, actually Sakari Kuikka is the University of Helsinki coordinator. So then, yeah, all the data from that project is also like utilized in this project. So not all data will be new. So yeah, that is one of the projects which we will use the data, and also I think the models which they created in that project, they will be also used as a basis for this. Yeah.
Okay, that was my question number one. And the second one, you mentioned that you are inviting all the riparian countries to provide their AIS data to be used in this project. Is it by the riparian countries, or because in the past at least, or I think that the situation already is still now, when HELCOM was collecting that data, it's now transferred to the Kystverket in Norway. Yep. Is the data coming from there, or is it coming from riparian countries?
The Kustverket, yeah, because they are one of the partners, they have some data, but then from the Helcom, it's what I have understood. It's not the resolution is not high enough what Helcom have stored in their platform. So that's why we would need to ask basically separately from these countries who have, yeah, so to get the more higher resolution AS data for this model development. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I myself have a question. You said that there is a paper on the model on the reliability of risk assessments from different administrations. So which administration is really reliable?
That's a good question. Maybe I said it wrong. It's more that model, like how reliable is the model to test the reliability. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, that way. So it's for the model's reliability. I think I might have said it then wrongly.
No, yeah. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
And I also have a question for Blue Supply Chains. On the solution, in Skagen, there were 9 outlets, and there were some flexibility in it. Are all the 9 outlets identical with flexibility, or are there 9 different ones to fit different needs?
The system itself is quite flexible and can be positioned in different areas of the ports. It's like a small container. Yeah. And the outlets, they can be chosen according to ship needs. So some need different characteristics, and these outlets serve these different characteristics.
So every container have all the different outlets?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. And please go ahead, just raise your voice and ask questions to these 3 projects.
Yes, if I may ask something related to this latest one. It's Jarkko Toivola again from Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency. Yeah, I'm more than well aware of the challenges for getting accurate and high resolution AIS data. But also you mentioned that, or you were looking for a winter with a large ice coverage, and actually you really should be looking for the winter 2010-11, because that's the latest one where we've had for a longer period a large ice coverage in the region. So that's something I'm sure you will be asking the data also from our sources, and I think that there is better than the Helcom data available for that winter already from the Finnish and Swedish IBNet sources, for instance. So, but you will look for that, but there isn't between 2022 and 24. There isn't a high ice coverage winter.
Yeah, thank you for this comment, and yeah, it's a very good comment. Actually, we have discussed this actually with our partners in the Aalto University, for instance, and because we need like basically minimum 3 consecutive years, and we just thought that the last 3 years would be the best, but yeah, they also mentioned that this is not the high ice cover years, so then we would we have to a little bit still think about the years what we will select for the what data we will try to get. Yeah, but thank you.
Further questions? I hear no further questions, so we're moving on. And thank you to Mirka, Kadi, and Stefan. So the next point on our agenda is Project Newcomers, and we have our latest edition, and that's the Baltic Fit project. So, Christina, would you like to present? And you're still on mute.
Do you see my screen?
Not yet.
Is it loading, at least?
That's good. So I see something. Now it disappeared again for me.
Is it now?
Is it loading at your end, Christina?
It is.
Good. But it's not arriving here. Is it arriving at your screen?
It is just uploading.
All right.
Maybe we try that you share it.
Yeah, Sami, could you see if you can share the screen instead?
I don't think I have Christine's presentation, unfortunately.
Okay, I thought you had them all. I'm sorry.
Should have was sent in time. Okay, I will try one more time.
This looks promising.
You should see my first slide.
Now it's there.
Yes, now we do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. So the Baltic Fit is a twinning project, and it's a project to enable Baltic Sea maritime transport to meet Fit for 55 regulations in decarbonization that has been quite oftenly mentioned by you during this meeting. So the project aim is to develop network of excellence, and we have 3 Baltic states who are the project partners. It's Finland, Sweden, and Estonia. And from Estonia, we have Talte has a coordinator, and the project is led by Estonian Maritime Academy Maritime Transport Research Group, which is led by Professor Ulla-Pirita Tapaninen. And from Finland, we have our strong partner is VTT. And from RISE, our partner is, from Sweden, our partner is RISE. And from Estonia, we have also a supporting partner, Andromind, who is helping us with professional development training and dissemination activities. So the project is just started in September, but we have been preparing for the start already almost all this year. So the project is for 3 years, and we have also advisory board in this project, because it is like not simple research project, as I call him, but very difficult one. There are a lot of activities which are not connected with the research, but connected with networking, with the dissemination. And we have also very wide advisory board from each of these three countries, and it's mostly composed from the public representative and from the board representative. And within this project, actually, we have 3 investigation areas. And these investigation areas are also leading to 3 main aims in this project. And this is analysis and the development of catalog of operational actions of shipping companies which they are using to decrease emissions, and it's connected with both with the shipping companies and with the ports. The second investigation area is analysis also and the development of a report on technological opportunities to decrease vessels emissions. And third investigation area is maritime digitalization, also mentioned by you several times today. And all these 3 investigation areas are actually leading to the one very big deliverable in this project, which is recommendations for stakeholders and authorities on how to tackle these decarbonization issues. And despite the fact that the project has just started, we have already one very big small milestone of us. So we have held in first our innovation workshop called Maritime Decarbonization in cooperation with Estonian Maritime Cluster, and we had we brought together actually around 40 stakeholders to that innovation workshop, and this is what I want to tell you a little bit more detailed. And we had during this workshop three sessions, and one was about maritime digitalization, how this can help us to decarbonize. Second one about sustainable ports, and the third one about shipping decarbonization. And we, from every workshop, we have like lots of outcomes. So, for example, in the maritime digitalization workshop, the key focus was on optimization and efficiency. For example, big data analysis was highlighted as essential for CO2 monitoring, which was also mentioned by you. Just-in-time maritime logistics, also advanced weather routing and route optimization were identified as key areas where digitalization can reduce emissions and improve maritime efficiency. Participants discussed also like the need for better data sharing platforms that integrate real-time data across maritime ecosystems. There was discussion about circular economy, green solutions, cybersecurity. For example, for sustainable port session, port cooperation was emerged as crucial element where deep sea and short range ports could work together to create interconnected renewable fuel network. So the interesting fact was among all these 3 workshops, nuclear energy was raised like many times. So it was surprisingly that during the discussions, for example, when the participants brainstormed on a wide range of fuel technologies, including diesel, LNG, ammonia, methanol, electricity, each of these fuels were evaluated based on environmental impact and cost and readiness. And again, the nuclear energy was mentioned in every stage of and in every session of these discussions. During the shipping decarbonization workshop, a lot of connected things, for example, with maritime digitalization workshop, like cyber security and security as soul, was discussed. So there were a lot of issues which brought us to the future thinking and future like trying to work with this lots of topics, and now we are trying to narrow them down and to proceed with the stakeholders to get like some justification of them in the short term, mid-term, and long-term solutions for the future research. And this project is like a lot of fun, a lot of fun and a lot of work. But the project is like the research is composed in one work package, in work package 5, where we are doing research. We are doing a lot of research articles, a lot of professional articles, but also we need a lot of joint projects with the stakeholders to be developed, and also a lot of joint collaboration we need to be started. So we are very much open for cooperation with you. So in case you have any kind of ideas, we are open. And what we were thinking that we need, as this is like not named like umbrella, but it's some kind, somehow becomes an umbrella project for those projects which we are already realizing in our maritime transport research group. We have to go in deep, like every project which is connected with decarbonization, and to see what we can take already from the work that has been done, and how we can incorporate these efforts together just to reach these goals faster. So the project is to make our maritime transport research group stronger. So here we are. Yeah, we are very international and a very big team, led by our Professor Ulla Tupaninen.
2 minutes.
Yeah, and we are welcome for cooperation. Just join us on. We have just recently launched our social media platforms. So thank you. I saved you time. Actually, you were out of schedule, not me. So thanks. I'm finished.
Yeah. So yeah.
Could you please show once again the slide where the partners were presented? Not the last one, but the one before that.
So the partners were VTT, RISE, and Taltech.
Persons. I mean,
partners. These were persons only from our maritime transport research group.
At Taltech.
Yeah,
right?
I can tell you that from VTT, our partner are Teemu Manterbaka, and from RISE, our main partner is Mikael Lind and Andreas Bach. And from VTT also Jarkko Rahikainen is working with us.
1C. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And it's good to have another project involved in PA ships, so welcome. And the next item on our agenda is any other business, and we have 2 any other businesses that wanted to present. And the first one is Andrea from the Red Noise Bolt Ship, who has asked to share some information about the project. So please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And I just came back because I was kicked out again from the meetings. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't jump out. I will share my screen.
You sharing screen, okay? Because you just have a couple of minutes, but I'll.
Yes, I will be very quick. I just wanted to.
Yeah, so I'll stop presenting and you can present. Go ahead.
Can you see my?
It's loading.
I am afraid this will take a bit too much time. So
please start presenting.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the Red Noise Bolt Ship project that I presented last time in our meeting. This is just more like the progress and the last things that we will do in the project, because the project will end in December of this year. And the Red Noise Valship, just as a quick intro, is to enhance visibility and connect the region towards reducing underwater noise from commercial and recreational shipping activities in the Baltic Sea. So we will be taking part in the Networking Village in the USVSR annual forum in Visby at the end of October, and we will present or be there to share about the project if there's anyone also attending. There's also going to be a webinar on underwater noise impact on fish from shipping activities mainly. However, we know this is a topic which is not very developed, so we are still developing the agenda and looking for speakers on the topic. So if you have any suggestions, if you know of any speakers that work on underwater noise from commercial shipping or continuous sources on fish, that would be really helpful for us. And the preliminary date is the 21st of November, but this is to be confirmed, and I will share this with Milla. And then we will have the final conference at the end of November or beginning of December, just to present all the results of the project, and I will also share the information with all the group. But I also wanted, and now I'm realizing maybe this is not very interesting for the group, but just as a very quick sharing with you, that we have also, like as a result of the Red Noise Valship project, which was like kind of to find stakeholders working on underwater noise from shipping and recreational activities, we have applied for a new project called Quiet Waters. And this project will be more focused on actions and pilot projects to reduce underwater noise from existing and future recreational crafts in the Baltic Sea. And that's why I say maybe it's not too relevant for this group. However, this project will be measuring, like doing baseline assessments, modeling, testing operational measures that we know or that have been suggested, as well as innovative solutions for reducing underwater noise from current and future boat market. And we will also develop recommendations on the policy level and, of course, communicate and do awareness raising.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will the final conference be online, available online, or is it a physical meeting?
It will be online, yes.
Okay, so that information could be shared through the PA Ship Network. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Andrea. And then we also have some business from Marco on the Submariner platform idea. Please, Marco. 2 minutes for you.
Okay, thank you, Ulf. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I mentioned a little bit about myself, so I will skip the introduction. But basically, we're at the Submariner are currently working on writing a proposal for the project platform for the Interreg Baltic Sea region, and basically this platform is a capitalization tool of the program, enabling project partners to consolidate outcomes from their projects and integrate them with the results from projects of other funding programs. So basically, the idea is to have projects and their outputs presented in a way, and then tackling public authorities, and maybe to influence in some way to policymaking. So if you see your involvement there, please reach out. I already left an email there at the beginning. We already identified a sustainable flow, rice fair, and maybe blue supply chain as potential projects we would like to use outcomes. And so I already reached out to them, but also maybe CNAV and open risk in some way, some form maybe can be also involved. But please, if you have some projects that you feel fit in this, what I mentioned and what I actually didn't mention, what we're trying to aim to. We don't want to focus so much on navigation. We wanted to more focus on ports and green and digitalization, but also making them a bit more green, reducing CO2 emissions, but also involving green corridors in a way. So that's kind of our goal with this a project platform that we want to do. So deadline is approaching soon, so we have to send this PIF by end of next week. So the sooner you reach out, the sooner we will have a call and maybe find the same language. And we also got a support from Mila and the PA ship too, so because it's important for the platform to have a support from the PA ship. So that's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. So
questions?
yeah, thank you. It's really important to hear the theme of the platform, the green ports, and that focus, and that make me understand why you reached out to those specific projects. So there will be continuous support from PA Ship to this platform application, and please consider if you're a project that work with the ports. Yeah, there were some obvious candidates for that. And with that, we reach the end of our meeting. If you have any further comments on the meeting, on anything, please send these comments not to me, but to Mila and Sami. And I want to thank you all for this very active participation, especially your good input on the action plan, but also the questions to the good presentations and the questions to the people giving the presentation. So thank you so much for this time, and welcome back for the next operational meeting, which will be sometime during spring, is my guess.